An elderly man had owned his large farm in Louisiana for many years. Right at the back of the farm, there was a large pond that was ideal for swimming. The old farmer had fixed it up really nice with picnic tables, a horseshoe courts, and some apple and peach trees. One evening, the farmer decides to go down to the pond to look it over, as he hadn't been down there for a while. Before setting off, he grabs a 5-gallon bucket as he decides he'll bring back some fruit. As he nears the pond, he can hear voices shouting and laughing with glee. Clearly, someone is having a good time. As the farmer gets closer, he can see a bunch of young women who are clearly skinny dipping in his pond. He makes the women aware of his presence, and immediately they all swim over to the far end. One of the women then shouts,
"We're not coming out until you leave, mister!"
The farmer replies, "Ladies, I didn't come down here to watch you swim naked or make you get out of the pond." The wily old-timer then holds up his bucket and says, "I just came down here to feed the alligators." There was an officer of the Royal Navy named Captain Robinson who showed no fear when facing his enemies. One day while sailing the 7 seas, his lookout spotted a pirate ship approaching, and the crew became frantic. Captain Robinson bellowed, "Bring me my red shirt!" The first mate quickly retrieved the captain's red shirt, and while wearing the brightly colored garment, the captain led his crew into battle and defeated the mighty pirates. That evening, all the men sat around on deck recounting the triumph of earlier. One of them asked the captain, "Sir, why did you call for your red shirt before battle?" The captain replied, "If I were to be wounded in the attack, the shirt would not show my blood. Thus you men would continue to fight unafraid." All the men sat and marveled at the courage of such a manly man's man. As dawn came the next morning, the lookout spotted not 1, not 2, but 10 pirate ships approaching. The crew stared in worshipful silence at the captain and waited for his usual orders. Captain Bravado gazed with steely eyes upon the vast armada arrayed against his ship, and without fear, turned and calmly shouted, "Bring me my brown pants!" A little old lady gets pulled over for speeding. The officer walks up to the car and after a quick greeting, takes the documentation she has ready for him. He notices she has a concealed carry license, so he asks, "Ma'am, do you have a firearm in the vehicle?" She replies,
"Well, yes, sir, I do."
The officer smiles a little, as this lady was no more than 5 feet tall, 90 pounds, and had to be 90 years old. "Ma'am, may I ask what type of firearm you have?"
"Well, yes, sir,"
she replies.
"I've got a 9mm in my purse, a 45 in the center console, and a Magnum in the glove compartment."
The officer is taken back a little. "Is that it?" he asks, half kidding.
"Well, no, I do have a pistol grip shotgun in the trunk as well,"
she says. The officer is really raising his eyebrows at this point and asks, "Ma'am, what are you afraid of?" The little old lady smiles sweetly and replies,
"Not a goddamned thing."
A monkey is sitting in a tree smoking a joint when a lizard walks past. The lizard looks up and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" The monkey says, "Smoking a joint. Come up and join me." So the lizard climbs up and sits next to the monkey, and they smoke another joint. After a while, the lizard says his mouth is dry and that he's going to get a drink from the river. At the riverbank, the lizard is so stoned that he leans over too far and falls in. A crocodile sees this and swims over to the stoned lizard, helping him to the side. He then asks the lizard, "What's the matter with you?" The lizard explains that he was up in the tree smoking a joint with the monkey and his mouth got dry, and that he was so wasted that when he went to get a drink from the river, he fell in. The inquisitive crocodile says he has to check this out. He walks into the jungle and finds the tree where the monkey is sitting, finishing a joint. He looks up and says, "Hey, monkey." The monkey looks down and says, "Dude, how much water did you drink, dude?" One day, God summoned Adam for an important task he must complete. God said,
"Adam, I want you to do something for me."
Adam said, "Gladly, Lord. What do you want me to do?" God said,
"Go down into that valley."
Adam said, "What's a valley?" God explained it to him. Then God said,
Cross the river.
Adam said, What's a river? God explained that to him. Then God said,
Go over to the hill.
Adam said, What's a hill? So God explained to Adam what a hill was. God told Adam,
On the other side of the hill, you will find a cave.
Adam said, What's a cave? God explained what a cave was. Then God said,
In the cave, you will find a woman.
Adam said, What's a woman? So God explained that to him too. God continued,
I want you to reproduce.
Adam said, Well, gosh, how do I do that? God muttered away to himself, rather annoyed. Then, just like everything else, God explained that to Adam as well. So Adam goes down into the valley, across the river, over the hill, into the cave, and finds the woman. Then, after about 30 minutes, Adam was back. God, his patience wearing thin, said angrily,
What is it now?
Adam then asked, What's a headache? A cowboy swaggers into a bar and can't help but notice a horse standing in the corner. He says to the bartender, I'll take a scotch, please. What's with the horse in the corner? See this pile of money? The bartender says, showing him a jar stuffed full of bills. If you can make that horse laugh, you can have it all. All right, said the cowboy. So the cowboy strutted over to the horse and whispered in his ear. The horse erupted into some serious horse laughter. The cowboy walked back to the bar, downed his scotch, grabbed his jar full of money, and left. A couple of weeks later, the cowboy returned to the bar. The horse was still in the corner. Do I get more money if I make him laugh again? The cowboy asked. Heck no, the bartender said. See this pile of money? As he showed him another jar stuffed full of bills. If you can make that horse cry, you can have all of it. All right, said the cowboy. So he strutted over to the horse, patted his nose, and led him outside to the alley. The cowboy and the horse were in the alley for just a few minutes. When they returned, the horse was bawling his eyes out. The bartender was amazed. Can I have my jar full of money? The cowboy asked. The bartender nodded. Sure, but before I hand it over, you gotta tell me, how did you do it? Well, to make him laugh, said the cowboy, I told him that my manhood was a lot bigger than his. You're kidding, the bartender said. So how'd you make him cry? Well, said the cowboy, when I took him out in the alley, I proved it. Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, bought new shoes for her wedding. During the big day, they became increasingly tighter and tighter as the day went on. That night, when the festivities were finally over and they retired to their room, she flopped on the bed and said,
Charles, darling, please remove my shoes. My feet are killing me.
Her ever-obedient Prince of Wales attacked her right shoe with vigor, but it would not budge.
Harder,
Yelled Camilla.
harder.
Charles yelled back, I'm trying, darling, but it's so bloody tight.
Come on, give it all you've got.
She cried. Finally, when it released, Charles let out a big groan and Camilla exclaimed,
There! Oh, God, that feels so good!
In their bedroom next door, the Queen said to Prince Philip,
See, I told you with a face like that, she had to be a virgin.
Meanwhile, in the next room, Charles tried to remove her left shoe and cried, Oh, God, darling! This one's even tighter!